I am Yahia Nazroo. I am a barrister by profession, and I've been practicing before at the Mauritian bar since 2005. Prior to that, I qualified in the United Kingdom, England, and Wales, and I was called at the bar at the Inner Temple in 2004. And I did my studies in Leeds University for my LLM. And after that, I did my bar school at Nottingham Law School. And since I've been in Mauritius since 2005, I started my practice at the Chambers of Gavin Glover, Senior Counsel. And after 12 years, I moved to join Appleby Law Firm, where I had the dispute resolution department here since 2016. My work consists generally of commercial litigation, which means that I go mainly arguing matters of commercial nature before the commercial division of the Supreme Court. Amongst other things I do, other than going to court, I also do a lot of advisory, pre-litigation advice work and general advisory work for clients in need of advice on commercial litigation or pre-commercial litigations. So that's about it for what I do at the moment.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you for that introduction. Do you mind explaining more about your job in detail and also telling us about your photography, because you also do that?
Yes, in terms of what I do in my profession as a barrister, as I said previously, it is mainly advising clients on their matters, which usually end up in court, where there is litigation, commercial litigation between two parties who've contracted, for example, to do something, and one party has not done his part, and the other party then sues. So it's mostly of commercial nature. So I appear most of the time before the commercial division of the Supreme Court as opposed to the other divisions of the Supreme Court. It does happen sometimes that I also appear in civil proceedings in the Supreme Court. For example, when there is an injunction, an urgent application for relief, these type of things. I also get to advise clients on specific matters which sometimes do not end up in court, but where we negotiate for a settlement. And as part of those negotiations, you need to be well aware of what the law is in Mauritius and how to tackle the issues of the client to bring to the client a practical solution to his problem. It's not only about winning a case, but it's always about finding the best practical solution for a client, especially when it comes down to commercial matters where the client is in need of very urgent advice, and that advice is a question of earning a lot of money or not losing a lot of money. In terms of photography, that's a hobby I have been doing since 1993. In November this year, it will be exactly 30 years since I started photography.
Wow.
And it has been an incredible journey, one that has started purely by coincidence when I was doing some photography at the races. And it so happened that I was at the right place at the right time to take a photograph of a horse that fell down in front of me with a jockey badly injured. I went on that spot and offered to help the jockey. He refused help. Later, I understood that he didn't want me to help him because he feared that I could have injured him more if I didn't know how to help him, which was fair enough. And at that moment in time, instinctively, I took a picture with a camera hand, and that picture got published the next day in the most sold newspaper in Mauritius at 80,000 copies. And a week after, I got paid for that photograph in 1993, sufficiently paid to buy a new camera. And since then, I've never stopped taking pictures. And I've done a wide variety of photography, but my main area is horse racing, golf, and recently underwater photography.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And could you tell us how you landed up in the field of law? What inspired you to come?
It has always been. I have always been looking something more challenging than the photography in terms of doing something which would really kick your brain to work and make it work
Mhm.
in a way that you always need to think ahead of
Right.
others, find solutions, help others, and do it in a way that you can express it sufficiently
Mm,
clearly to be understood and convincing. So
right.
that is how I started liking law. And when I left secondary school, I went to court a few times to just sit and watch cases. And one of those
Mm,
cases was a murder case, which really probably did the thing for me. And I thought, yeah, I should be standing there and doing what this advocate is doing. And since
mm,
then, I went on to do a first degree in Mauritius. It's a BA honors in English at the University of Mauritius
right.
because I did not have sufficient funds to go study on my own.
Mm,
And with the help of the photography, for the 3 years I was doing my BA honors English at the University of Mauritius, I
Mhm.
continuously worked as a photographer as well, and sufficient funds to be able to then go for a 2 year study in England,
wow.
self funded, to do my LLM, which is a convertible course, first year, full LLB, a crash course in 1 year instead of three, and the second year, a dissertation to give you the Masters of Law.
Mm,
I did my Masters of Law, the dissertation in on the media and the freedom of expression of
wow.
politicians generally. And it so happened that today this is very, very in the limelight. So
Yeah.
I follow it out of interest for my dissertation, which has been done 20 years ago, but that is how it is. Um, and and then yes, I just went on to do bar school because when I was in Leeds, I also managed to work um, to do some photography and get money out of it, but also work in 4 different jobs whilst I was studying. So basically,
Wow.
I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the evening. So it was a round the
Wow.
clock, Saturday, Sunday included. It was hard work, but I had to do it to
Right.
be able to pay the fees of the school and the exams, etc. And it was very hard work, but it's all paying the reward today.
Right. Wow.
Wow.
That's absolutely amazing. It's
Yeah.
so incredible how you've been able to excel in two different fields.
Yeah, but also where you started from and how you really worked hard to get where you are today.
People usually say, jack of all trades and master of none. You must have heard this expression, right?
Yeah.
I always answer back saying, jack of two trades and master of both.
Wow. That's a nice way to put it. Wow. And could you tell us what you like the most about what you do?
Um, there is no job that can give you the satisfaction I get when a client turns around and tell you, thank you, even when you
Yeah.
have lost the case. It's not
Mm,
about winning. Even when you lose the case, that satisfaction when the client turns around and still tells you thank you so much because you've worked hard, he or she has seen it, and you've done all that you could to win the case, but you still lose it. But the client satisfaction when he says that's thank you, never mind, we've lost, there is
yeah.
nothing that can be more satisfying than that. And that is why you keep going on the job. Whether you lose, you win, you just carry on doing it to the best of your ability.
Wow. Very true.
Yeah. And finally, what is your advice to kids?
If you want a career to be, if you want to be successful in a career, sorry, you have to work very, very, very hard for the first 5 years you have in that career. I say 5 years as a yardstick, but it can be a little bit more, it can be a little less. But the working hard in the first few years of your career brings
Right.
you respect, reputation, and also be known to be a hard worker. These are the three
Right.
components which then gets people to know you and come to you all the time for you to excel in what you do thereafter for them. But if you miss out on those first few years of your career by just leaving it to tomorrow to do things which you can do today,
Mm.
then you probably will not be as successful in that career as you would
Right.
otherwise have.